The Jonin rank is a bit deceptive in the Naruto series. Most ninjas in that world will never become a Jonin in their entire lives. So in this video, we're going to talk about why. Why is that the Leaf Village, for example, has so few Jonins in their ranks? And one thing we have to keep in mind is that Jonins are called Jonins because they are elite ninjas. This is literally the definition of the name. And an elite ninja has elite capabilities in every single aspect of the ninja art. Taijutsu, ninjutsu, genjutsu, hand signs, stamina, physical capabilities, strength, speed. They're supposed to be elite in everything. Let's estimate the number of ninjas of the Leaf Village. We know the Shinobi Alliance is comprised of 80,000 people. They come from the 5 major villages and also the samurai. So if you divide 80,000 by 6, you get 13,333. However, this is definitely an underestimation for the number of ninjas in the Leaf Village for a few factors. First, it's kind of obvious that the samurai do not have as many people as the other major villages. And we also know that the 5 major villages have a different number of shinobis fighting for them. The Sand Village, for example, is said to be the village with the least number of ninjas. We also know that the Genins did not join the war effort during the 4th Great Ninja War. They didn't go to the battlefields, they weren't in the wide shots of the 5 major battalions preparing for war. There's even a filler episode of the Genins in the Leaf Village and Konoha are there and everything. And we also know that some ninjas stayed behind. We see guards in Karen's prison, for example, during the 4th Great Ninja War as everything is happening. We also see that a lot of housewives in that same Konoha filler episode stayed behind as well, and those housewives belong to clans and are shinobi. Shikamaru's mom, for example, Yoshino Nara, is a Chunin and she didn't go to the war. So the number of ninjas that the Leaf Village has is definitely higher than 13,333. So let's say 15,000 for the sake of argument, even though I still think it's much higher than that. If I were to give a correct estimation, I would say that the Leaf Village would have at least 25,000 ninjas. But out of those 15,000 ninjas in the lower estimate, how many do you think are Jonins? Well, let's pick a period in the Naruto story and count how many Jonins the Hokage would have access to in that particular time. And the time I'm going to choose is going to be the beginning of Naruto Shippuden when Tsunade is the Hokage. I'm choosing this time specifically because it's the easiest one to count that we know more about and everything, because obviously the number of Jonins is going to fluctuate because, well, they die and everything. So let's begin by the most famous ones, shall we? Number 1, Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja, the man who copied 1,000 jutsus. He became Jonin at 13 years old, the youngest in the history of the Leaf Village, and he's also the sensei of Team 7. All senseis are going to be Jonins with one single exception, that one being Ebisu, who is a special Jonin, and his speciality is teaching, so it makes sense for him to be a sensei even though he's not a fully fledged Jonin. The difference between Jonin and Tokubetsu Jonin is that a Tokubetsu Jonin or special Jonin only has elite level capabilities in one singular aspect of the shinobi art. It is an intermediate rank between Chunin and Jonin given to those who excel in one particular thing, like Ibiki, for example, being a master in interrogation, but are not necessarily elite in other aspects. Number 2, we have Might Guy, another team sensei, and obviously another famous Jonin. Now, Guy is an exception of the exception, because yeah, Tokubetsu Jonins are those who have elite capabilities in one singular aspect of shinobi life, and Guy sort of is like that, being a master at taijutsu. However, there's several things he's not very great at. Sure, he's not completely talentless when it comes to ninjutsu and genjutsu like Rock Lee, for example. He can summon the turtle using ninjutsu, he can dispel genjutsu as well, but he's certainly not that great with those capabilities. However, he is so immensely strong at taijutsu, and he's also pretty good at strategy, leadership, and things that Jonins also require, that it just makes no sense to make him a Tokubetsu Jonin. Number 3, we have Asuma Sarutobi, another team sensei, and yes, he dies in the middle of Naruto Shippuden. However, in the beginning, he's still available to Tsunade. Number 4, we have Kurenai Yuhi, another team sensei and a specialist at genjutsu. I wouldn't say she is the same thing as my guy when it comes to taijutsu, but she's obviously better at genjutsu than other things, but I still think she can hold her own in other aspects of the shinobi art. And when Naruto Part 1 starts, she's a young Jonin. Kakashi remarks that when she says she didn't know who Ibiki Morino was. For number 5, we have Yamato, or Tenzo. He was an Anbu, and I'm not counting the Anbu here on this list, even though many of them, if not all of them, are going to be Jonin level. The Anbu level is outside the ordinary chain of command in the Leaf Village, so they don't get a regular shinobi rank. However, for Yamato's case, Tsunade pulls him out of the Anbu and gives him the Jonin rank so he can go with Naruto, Sai, and Sakura to the Tenchi Bridge mission, and she did so because he was the best person to contain the Nine Tails' chakra if anything went wrong. And even though technically Tsunade could do that with many other Anbu members, I am not going to count them as Jonas Jonins because, first of all, we don't even know the names of most Anbu members, and we don't know their capabilities to say for certain they would be Jonin level. Yamato, for sure a Jonin. Number 6, we have Shizune. Yes, Shizune is a Jonin. Most people don't know that, but she is one and she's pretty strong. Okay, now that we counted the most famous one, let's get into the more obscure Jonins in the story, and let's also separate them by clans and count up how many Jonins each clan individually possesses. Starting with the Nara clan with number 7, Shikaku Nara, Shikamaru's dad and the clan head. He's obviously strong and most importantly intelligent, being the mastermind behind the Shinobi Alliance. For number 8, we have Ensui Nara, a Jonin that appears quickly during the 4th Great Ninja War, fighting alongside Kakashi against the 7 Ninja Swordsmen and especially Zabuza. They use that very interesting strategy of Ensui Nara using his shadow possession on Kakashi in a very loose way, still leaving Kakashi's movements free, and at the same time, a Yamanaka clan member uses his mind possession jutsu to control Kakashi's body and sense the enemies around him until Kakashi reaches the enemy with his Raikiri, hits the enemy with Raikiri, which is Zabuza in that case. Ensui's Nara shadow possession binds the enemy, and then Maki, that Sand Jonin, comes from behind and seals them. So there was a very cool strategy Kakashi came up with alongside 2 powerful ninjas from the Nara and Yamanaka clans, and Ensui Nara is the Nara guy and a Jonin. For number 9, we have Daen Nara. Now this dude only appears very briefly when there's an entire platoon of Nara shinobi using the shadow possession to stop the Ten Tails' movements, and that's it. That's what he does. But he's listed as a Jonin, so there you have it. For number 10, we have Suzaku Nara. He's the Yamanaka clan member that was on Turtle Island making sure Naruto would be protected and also making sure Naruto wouldn't try to escape. He even uses the shadow possession on Naruto trying to prevent him from fleeing, and he stops Naruto for a moment, but Naruto breaks out of it, and Suzaku Nara was a Jonin. And the final Jonin we know about in the Nara clan. So that clan had 4 Jonins, which doesn't seem like a lot, but actually it kind of is. And that's because Jonins are so rare, and only a few clans will have more Jonins than 4, at least on this list. Moving on to number 11, and the Yamanaka clan, we have Inoichi Yamanaka, Ino's dad, the leader of the interrogation corps of the Leaf Village. And we see he's pretty powerful, not only in reading people's minds, but also fighting, because he can use the mind destruction jutsu, forcing people to fight against each other against their will. And for number 12, we have Santa Yamanaka. This is the Yamanaka who fought alongside Kakashi and Ensui Nara, implementing the strategy I mentioned before during the 4th Great Ninja War, and also listed as a Jonin. And that's it. These are the only 2 Jonins we know about from the Yamanaka clan. So only 2, half as many as the Nara clan. Moving on to the Akimichi clan, we have Choza Akimichi, Choji's dad and the clan leader. We see him fighting against the Ghetto Mazo alongside Choji. We see him fighting against Pain alongside Kakashi. Obviously a powerful dude. Number 14, we have Shito Akimichi. He's the other Akimichi that fights against Pain alongside Kakashi, Choji, Choza, and a few other random leaf ninjas, and he gets knocked out by that Shinra Tensei, if not killed. We don't know exactly. He's also in Turtle Island guarding Naruto, and he even sort of tackles Naruto to prevent him from escaping, which doesn't work, but still he's there. And we have Doto Akimichi, another Akimichi Jonin who fought alongside Minato in the 3rd Great Ninja War. Now, there's a caveat to this one because we don't know if he is still alive in Naruto Shippuden, but we don't know if he's dead. So I guess it's Schrodinger's Akimichi here, but I'm counting him up just to pump up the numbers a little bit. I'm trying to be generous. So if we count that Doto Akimichi, the guy who fought with Minato, was alive in Naruto Shippuden, there would be only 3 Jonins in the Akimichi clan. Moving on to the Inuzuka clan, and this one is even more surprising because the only Inuzuka we know of that is a Jonin is a guy called Gaku Inuzuka. He fought alongside Minato in the 3rd Great Ninja War as well, and it's the same thing as Doto Akimichi. We don't know if the guy is alive in Naruto Shippuden, but we don't know if he's dead either. So this one is Schrodinger's Inuzuka. Even Kiba's mom, Sume Inuzuka, is not a Jonin. She is a special Jonin, and she's the clan head, which is really surprising, isn't it? You can see that the more prestigious the clan is, the more Jonins they tend to have in this situation. Now, moving on to the Aburame clan, and number 17, we have Shibi Aburame, Shino's dad and the clan leader. But he is the only one we know of from the Aburame clan that is a Jonin. It makes sense for him being clan leader. I mean, Sume Inuzuka is clan leader and she's not a Jonin, which is kind of pathetic. But unfortunately for the Aburame clan, they only have 1 Jonin, which I don't like because I'm a fan of the Aburame clan, alright? Most of the other Aburames that are not Shino that you see in the story are going to be Tokubetsu Jonin. Moving on to the Hyuga clan, we have number 18, Hiyashi Hyuga. Hinata's and Hanabi's dad and the clan leader. We don't see him fighting a lot, but he does take care of several invading ninjas during the Konoha Crush arc at the same time with a single rotation, and he fights against his brother in the Edo Tensei form during the war. But he's a Jonin. We also have Neji Hyuga. This is a famous one, but I decided to keep him grouped with his clan, and he is the only member of the Konoha 12 that gets promoted to Jonin during the time skip. So a pretty recent Jonin, all things considered. For number 20, we have Ko Hyuga, Hinata's caretaker, the guy that's always with her and that has shorter hair, which is not common in the Hyuga clan. Is also in that anime flashback when Hinata sees Naruto before she goes to fight against Pain. For number 21, we have Iroha Hyuga. He was the Hyuga that was in Turtle Island overseeing Naruto and the one who tells the barrier guy that Naruto and B are escaping and everything. And we also have Hoheto Hyuga, the Hyuga in Kankuro's advanced squadron during the war that fights against Edo Sasori, Deidara, and a few others. And these are the 5 Jonins that we know that are in the Hyuga clan. So yeah, only 5 Jonins for the Hyuga clan, but it's the clan with the most Jonins in the Leaf Village. You can see that the more prestigious the clan is, the more Jonins they have. The Hyuga are famous in the Leaf Village and even worldwide, and they enjoy a lot of prestige. They have the most Jonins, followed by the Nara clan, who's also a pretty prestigious clan, being the clan of Hokage advisors, of very intelligent people that form strategies for the Leaf Village. Then we have 3 for the Akimichi clan, 2 for the Yamanaga clan, and only 1 for the Aburame and Inuzuka clan. So you can definitely see that those 2 clans don't have as much prestige. Now there's one weird thing here, which is that the Sarutobi clan, a very powerful, famous, and prestigious clan in the Leaf Village, only has 1 Jonin, which is Asuma, and when he dies, they would have none, which doesn't seem feasible, right? We see several Sarutobi clan members in the war arc spewing fire down the Ten Tails when the Alliance is implementing Shikaku's strategy, but we just don't know how many of those guys are going to be Jonin, but a few of them probably, right? The Sarutobi clan was one of the first clans to join the Leaf Village after the Uchihas and Senjus founded it. But now that I'm done with general clans, I haven't yet finished counting how many Jonins Tsunade would have access to in the beginning of Shippuden, because now we have some weird ones. Shinku Yuhi, remember him? Kurenai's dad that appears in Minato's flashback? He's rounding up the youngers so they don't go and fight against the Nine Tails and protecting them, and Kurenai protests that because she wants to go and fight. Oh dad, why are you keeping us here? Whatever. He is a Jonin, or was a Jonin. We just don't know if the guy's alive. Now, because he never shows up in Naruto Shippuden, and because some stuff happens to Kurenai, like she becoming pregnant, her boyfriend dying, going to Asuma's funeral and everything, and we never see Kurenai's dad, I sort of have to assume he died before Naruto Shippuden. Even though he probably didn't die against the Nine Tails because he was just rounding up the Genins, there's a lot of chances the Shinobi can die during their lives, so in those 15 to 16 years between Naruto's birth and Naruto Shippuden, he could have died. We also have the elders Koharu and Homura, and they don't have a listed Shinobi rank, but I have to assume they would be Jonin. After all, they were in Tobirama's squadron. They're also helping Hiruzen out with a Nine Tails invasion, but they don't fight anymore, so technically Tsunade wouldn't even have access to them when it comes to their fighting prowess. So let's go to ninjas we know Tsunade would have access to. With number 23, Kabuto Sensei. Yes, I am saying Kabuto Sensei because we do not know the name of this dude. He first appears in Naruto Part 1 when all the Jonin senseis are lined up after the Genins pass the Forest of Death, and he is the sensei of Kabuto, Yoroi, and Mizumi, but we know he's a Jonin. First because he's a team leader, and also because he is listed as a Jonin. You know, the guy with blondish hair, glasses. He used to be on Anko's team when they were Genins. We can see them fighting together in the Chunin exams during Obito's flashback, which means Orochimaru was his sensei. And this dude is just mysterious. Like, does he know Kabuto, Yoroi, and Mizumi are working for Orochimaru as spies? Did Orochimaru sort of chose he would be their sensei because he used to be his student? Is he another Orochimaru spy? After all, he is the sensei of 3 guys that are obviously spies. Or is he just a regular sensei of the Leaf Village and is completely unaware that 3 of his guys are spies? Because we know Kabuto failed the Chunin exams like what, 6-7 times? And so the dude just thinks he's a horrible sensei because his students cannot pass the exams. Nothing is truly known about this dude, but we know he is a Jonin for certain. And for number 24, we have the strongest Jonin Tsunade would have access to in the beginning of Naruto Shippuden. You may not even think about him as a Jonin, but he certainly is one, and that is going to be Jiraiya, the Toad Sage. I know it's weird to call Jiraiya a Jonin and not a Sanin, but remember that Sanin is not a military rank. It's a title bestowed upon Jiraiya and the other 2 by Hanzo of the Salamander, and it has nothing to do with the chain of command of the Leaf Village. But Jiraiya is listed as a Jonin, and because he went back to the Leaf Village, Tsunade has access to him. Well, it's not like Tsunade has complete control control over Jiraiya's actions. He sort of does whatever he wants to do, but she can still give Jiraiya commands and orders. Even though she didn't want Jiraiya to go to the Rain Village, for example, she understood what Jiraiya was going to do, and she told Jiraiya not to engage with the enemy, only gather intel, which Jiraiya sort of ignored when he got to the Rain Village and just fought pain. He is a Jonin working for the Leaf Village, so obviously we're gonna count him in, making it 24 confirmed-ish Jonins that Tsunade would have access to in the beginning of Naruto Shippuden, out of 15,000 ninjas. And yes, it's more than likely that there are more Jonins we simply don't know about. Characters we don't know the names of, characters Kishimoto didn't even come up with, but he, the author, knows, okay, yeah, sure, there are more Jonins, I'm just not going to name them all because it's pointless, right? It would make a lot of sense for the powerful clans in the Leaf Village to have more Jonins. Even the Hyuga clan, who has the most Jonins on this list, should have more Jonins too, maybe. And clans like the Inuzuka, maybe a couple more. Also, it would make a lot of sense for the Sarutobi clan to have a few Jonins as well, and not just Asuma. Now, there is a way we can find additional Jonins that we don't know the names of, but they certainly exist. When Kabuto is explaining things about the Chunin exams to the rookies, we see that there were 87 Leaf Village candidates. And if we divide that by 3, it gives us 29 Leaf Village teams, meaning that there should be 29 senseis overseeing the Leaf Village teams in the Chunin exams. Now, we've gone through 5 of these senseis: Kakashi, Kurenai, Guy, Asuma, and Kabuto sensei. Those were from the Leaf Village. But the additional 24 senseis, their teams simply didn't pass to the final round, so we didn't see them at all. Meaning that there are 24 additional Jonins that are senseis that we don't know the names, even though we see a couple of them when Kurenai, Asuma, and Kakashi are recommending their rookies to the Chunin exams. So those guys in the background, there are likely some of those Jonins that are nameless. And with this additional 24 Jonins that we deduced from Kabuto's data, we essentially double the number that we managed to count. But even if we overestimate the number of Jonins, making it 10 times higher than what I estimated here, 240 Jonins, let's say, it's still not even 2% of the total number of ninjas in the Leaf Village. And yeah, maybe during other times, like before the Uchiha clan massacre, the Leaf Village could have had more Jonins. After all, the Uchiha clan was quite literally the strongest clan in the Leaf Village, and if they hadn't died, they would have a lot more Jonins. Itachi, Fugaku, Shisui, Mikoto. Yes, Mikoto Uchiha, Sasuke's and Itachi's mom, was a Jonin. And obviously many other Uchiha clan members in the police force would have been Jonins as well, but the Uchiha clan was massacred, and so the Leaf Village wouldn't have access to them. There are also some pretty damn powerful ninjas that are not Jonin. Anko, for example, who fought against Orochimaru in the Forest of Death, trying to take him with her, kinda holding her on against him for a little bit. She's a Tokubetsu Jonin. Genma Shiranui, the most based, strongest guy in the Naruto universe. He stalemates Baki, a Sand Village Jonin, in the Chunin exams for an hour, and he is a Tokubetsu Jonin as well. So why so few? Why is this rank so rare? We have to address a little bit of a misconception in the Naruto fandom, saying that Jonins are not that big of a deal and they are not to be considered great threats. But no, we have this wrong impression because especially in Naruto Shippuden, and even more especially towards the end of the series, we follow the most powerful characters this universe has ever seen. And obviously those characters would completely eclipse the power level of a regular Jonin. But when you take a look at the average shinobi in the Naruto universe, the power of a Jonin is amazing. An elite ninja is that elite, and the elite is only a small fraction of the whole. As I said before, most ninjas in the Naruto world will never reach Jonin rank, even though they train hard and they try to become better ninja. They're just never gonna do it. It's just like any profession in the real world. Most professionals will be journeymen. They're not gonna be the greatest among the elite in their field, and only a selected few that have talent and what it takes to evolve their skills are going to become that. In the Naruto world, the journeymen are called Chunin, which literally means journeyman ninja, and that's the rank the vast majority of shinobi will be for the rest of their lives. But because we have this skewed perception that, oh, the characters we follow are extremely powerful and a Jonin wouldn't be able to scratch them, we tend to think, oh, okay, it's just a Jonin, it's not a big deal. But think about this, if you were a Chunin going on a mission in the Naruto universe, and you find out you're gonna have to fight or face a Jonin in any capacity, you are gonna be pooping your pants, because that's going to be an elite shinobi, and you won't be one. That shinobi will be so much stronger than you, it's going to be ridiculous. We clearly see that happening with the Demon Brothers attacking Team 7 in the Land of Waves arc. Those two are pretty famous Chunins from the Mist Village, and Kakashi, a Jonin from the Leaf takes care of them instantly once he realizes what they're up to. He just grabs them by the neck, blitzing them completely, and the fight's over. That's the difference of power between a regular Chunin and a Jonin, even though I would call Kakashi above a mid-tier Jonin that stage of the story. He's definitely a high Jonin, but that's sort of the difference, right? And the reason why there are so few of them is because it's very difficult for you to achieve elite capability in every single aspect of Shinobi life. Also, if for some reason a village started to give away the Jonin rank to people that are not as qualified as they were supposed to be, the credibility of that village would decrease, because then possible clients could come to the village and ask for a difficult mission, or specifically request Jonin Shinobi to fulfill a mission, and then the Jonin Shinobi that were underqualified would underperform, which would affect the village and possibly turn future clients away. So you have to be selective about the ninja you choose to become Jonin, because there are no Jonin exams. The Hokage simply elevates a Chunin into the Jonin rank when the Hokage feels that ninja is ready, and that usually takes a lot of effort, and it's not gonna be for every ninja. And something that really tells you how rare the Jonin rank is that the Inuzuka clan, a prestigious clan and famous clan in the Leaf Village, their clan head is not even a Jonin. As I said, Kiba's mom, Tsume Inuzuka, is a special Jonin, and I wonder what's her speciality. I guess tracking right? That would just make sense by their sense of smell. So it's not far-fetched to think that many powerful, famous clans in the Leaf Village would have fewer than 10 Jonins in their entire ranks. When you become a Jonin, you essentially become a big deal in the village, and one could even say a big deal in the entire Naruto world. Now, if you want to find out why the number of ninjas in the Shinobi Alliance makes no sense from an in-universe perspective, click on the video on your screen. I've alluded to that in this video, but it's a very interesting topic when you dissect it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring notifications as well. Those are very helpful, and they only take 2 seconds, and thank you so much for watching.